Welcome back. It is Thursday, June 24, 2021. Good morning. I'm Pagawan. Today's topic: why is pride a thing? Why is pride a thing? During our Why Conservatives Lose arc. Welcome back to the Best Feeling Podcast, your only no-nonsense podcast. The Best Feeling Network. Using our sense of the world to make sense of the world. Achieving world peace through individual strength. I hope you're taking time to feel the weight of the body down the front of your spine and into the rainbow arches at all the times. I'm your host, Herbie. Welcome to another episode of Pagawan. Wonderful morning, wherever you are, wherever thou art. Wherever you are you in the grocery store? Are you in the car? Wherever you are, zooming far. Are you going to school? Are you going to work? Wherever you are, I hope you're taking time to feel the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all of the times. Are you feeling the front of the shins? Don't make us say it again, or maybe make us say it again. And I hope you remember that you do not sit on your legs. You do not sit on your legs. Isn't that so exciting? We spend so much of our life thinking the wrong thing or thinking the wrong thing. Woo! We're feeling fantastic this morning. It is Thursday already. Could you believe it? I was talking to my auntie last night, and not only is it Thursday, but June is already almost over. We've already almost passed into the second phase now, the second half of the year. Isn't that amazing? Crazy. Next thing you know, it will be Christ. The end of the year. Why is pride a thing? Let's talk about this for a second. Why is pride a thing? Pride has to be a thing. Because why is this God thing always a thing? Herbie, this God thing again. The sky God. You mean this floating naked guy in the sky? No, we don't mean this floating naked guy in the sky, God. We don't mean this floating naked guy in the sky, guys. We mean this thing that is just a design thing. We mean we make things our God, as in whatever we ascribe to be our best feeling in life, and whatever is going to bring us that best feeling in life, whatever we see as fit to continue to bring us the best feeling in life, we act religiously towards, as in we live our life for that thing. As in, that becomes the center of our focus, because if it feels so good for us, well, how bad of people would we be if we were not to spread it around with everybody else? Is that not true? So as everybody wants to be internally good, as just a nature thing, as every human wants to be internally good, whatever they see as the best thing, they're going to want to evangelize. They're going to want to tell everybody about. They're going to make their God. They're going to tell the world about it. And be like, hey guys, this is the best thing. So why is pride a thing? This is Pride Month, is it not? In June 2021, in America, is it not Pride Month? What is this pride thing? Well, whatever we decide is our biggest sufferer reducer is going to be our God thing, right? As we talked about. So should we not be talking about this God thing? Should you be told that you're released, or rather restricted from the access to this God thing? What else do you have? What else would you live your life for? Should you think that you quote unquote don't have a God, not realizing that humans always make something their God? You make something your God. You make that one thing that relieves your stress or relieves your suffering or helps you overcome hardship throughout life consistently and more better every time. You make that your God. What have we made our God into in this world, Herbie? Well, I would argue sex culture. Culture and sex. Why culture? Well, maybe because culture is going to get you more of that sex. As one of the base natures of human beings is to be agreeable, to be liked by the group, because that is a marginally successful idea. Should you be accepted by the group as your utmost and highest value in life? Oh, I want to be accepted by the group, because if I'm accepted by the group, all my problems go away. Should that be your highest value, then sex will be your highest value as well. Considering the fact that to have the most access to this sex thing, right? Let's keep it PG, guys. But this nature thing, this normal, very nature thing, but is meant for reproduction, blah, 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 which is why it's incentivized by the human biology. It's good for human production. An issue is that it creates addiction. It leaves you when it's done. It creates all sort of trust problems because it is like a human drug. It is one of the main natural human biological releases that happens pseudo instantly, and that confirms some amount of security for the rest of life, considering that it assumes that, all right, this human's got this natural human drug, so when you start using it, when you start enjoying it with somebody, that they stick around. There's this implication that it stays, kind of like a drug, kind of like a real drug, right? Doesn't every drug feel like it'll stay for real? So this culture thing, you're gonna make into your religion because it gets you the most amount of this God thing. This God thing for you. What is God thing for you? It's gonna be agreeableness, sex, because it leads to that. More often than not, the average of culturally agreeable partners will have a variable amount of access to sexual partners. Thank you, Herbie, for that host. I really do appreciate you. Is this religious thing? Is this thing? Let's say you believe in this God thing. Is that not? Do you not have pride for that God thing? Because you're like, wow, this is a great religion. So it's like I'm trying to tell everybody about it. So isn't that like your kind of pride? So should you be restricted and told that you're not allowed into this quote unquote God thing that the world keeps talking about? Then what then does your human spirit have to be fervorish about? As we are naturally religious, right? Naturally, what you find to be the best solution in life, you become religious about. As in, you think about it all the time, you work towards it all the time, whether it be culture, whether it be a religion, whether it be your business, whatever you view as your vessel for overcoming suffering and overcoming hardship consistently, that helps you do that, and you wouldn't be able to overcome certain things without it. You turn into your God, not religiously, humanly, by design. We attach this word of religion to it, right? This human idea of like religion. We're trying to describe something that's invisible, but humans act religiously towards this thing that whatever they find best to help them overcome hardship as best as possible. Why would you not? Why would you not act religiously towards that if it continuously displays a pattern of helping you overcome certain hardships that you otherwise would not be able to? And then, how bad of a person would you be to not then tell the world about it if it helped you this much, right? So how could we blame the state of the world that we're in? We can never hate the state of the world that you're in, right? Here on Padawan, remember to let all the ears pass through one ear and then out the other, and remember to place the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all other times. Remember that to feel the front of your shins, and remember that you do not sit on your legs. As we're thinking about how we don't and should never hate the world, right? Can't hate the state of the world that you're in. It's one of the great lessons of one of our favorite animes, One Piece. Yeah, but you should never hate the state of the world that you're in. Why is that? Well, can't we understand that people are just seeking that thing? Well, can't we understand that everybody's just seeking that thing that helps them overcome hardships, that helps them overcome all things that without they would not be able to overcome those things? And then wouldn't you evangelize that? Doesn't it make sense that people would be prideful of those things and hold on to those things, whatever concepts that they've assigned to be their religion that helps them overcome hardships and just helps them overcome things that otherwise they would never? Can we blame anybody for operating in this pattern? And so, how can you blame the world that you're in? Do you have a right to blame the world that you're in? As everybody's just doing the same thing together. Everyone's doing the same thing, just in different ways together. So we all see this thing as we all do see for this God thing. It's only just in the recent times that we were just like, okay, what is it this time? Well, now it's this sky god thing. It's this floating guy. Apparently, allegedly, to a lot of people. But aren't all of these God things simply things that the human on the inside is seeking for, yearning for? Some kind of God. Why do we yearn for a God? Because we know that there will be hardships and suffering and things that we want to overcome that we don't feel that we have the strength to. So we want something to rely on. So we rely on a God. Because otherwise, it's just us. Otherwise, the responsibility of all of the decisions that we make is just us. How scary is that? How absolutely scary is that? So why is pride a thing? Well, pride has to be a thing. What is pride? Pride, the indulgence of the self, the ego, the feelings that I am right, the feelings that I know what's best for myself, the feelings of I know, the feelings of me, pride, feelings of what I do is my choice and I should be proud of every choice that I make, that everything that I do is me. Pride. Ugly, disgusting pride. As in, I know what's best for me and I cannot and I will not entertain the idea of even other people telling me no, because this is me. That's what pride is I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what to do. I want to become famous by followers. That's a crazy way to become famous. Well, if you really want to believe that, go ahead and try it. But this pride thing, yeah, I'm talking about. There's some text on the screen as well. If you can't see it if you're just listening to audio. Well, pride. Pride is this idea of being proud. Obviously, it's in the word, but rooting for and seeing as a good everything about yourself, about what you're doing, right? Your pride, what you're doing compared to what they say you're doing. As in, don't tell me what to do. As in, I'm right, is what pride is. Pride is what I see is right. The lack of ability to act with humility towards seeing that you may be wrong. Nay, you should stay on wherever you believe you're correct, right? Shouldn't you stay on whatever you think is correct? Shouldn't you die for whatever you think is correct, right? This pride thing. Why should you entertain humility? Doesn't that mean you're wrong? Well, this pride thing says you can't be wrong. It's your life, right? You're doing what you're doing. And if you don't have access, or if you're told that you have nothing else but you, Like, you're not allowed to talk to this God thing anymore. We're not gonna let you. We're not gonna let you. We're not gonna let you lay your problems on something that can handle it. No, you're restricted from this God thing. You're not allowed to talk to this God thing. It's just you and their body now. Ha ha ha. It's just you and your body. Well, no wonder you're going to have pride. No wonder pride is a thing. We can't be going around thinking that God is this angry God, shutting people out, and then expecting pride to not be a thing. Because when you don't have this access to this God thing, or if you lack security, you're insecure and people tell you that you shouldn't have access to this God thing. But what you're going to do is you're definitely going to have pride. You would be stupid to not have pride. You'd be silly to not have pride. As in, you're discussing how within your own life, it's just you and this life, right? You're restricted from access to this God thing. So now it's just you. You're forsaken from this God thing. So it's just you now. It's just you and your life. Nothing else matters. There's no afterlife. You don't belong to anything. You're not part of any large community. It's just your life. You just showed up one day and you got like 60, 70 years if you're lucky. And you don't understand anything. Because apparently this entire world was built off this God thing, but you don't have access to this God thing, right? What? You're locked out from this God thing, so how are you gonna understand the world? You got like 60, 70 years, so of course pride would be a thing. It would be stupid for pride to not be a thing because you have only so many years on this earth. You gotta find your God, right? If you're restricted from access from this like religious God, they say, okay, they're telling you, they're claiming that you're already failing from the get-go with this God, right? So you gotta go and search for your own. Because you gotta find a way to overcome suffering and overcome hardships that you otherwise would not be able to without the help of something else. You have to find that something. You have to find that something. So you're gonna look for it, you're gonna search all your years. When you find it, you would be dumb to not have pride. You would dumb to not be proud of the thing that is helping you overcome hardship because you got to fight for it somehow. You got to show people that it's a great thing. And what does that look like? Pride. You're happy about having this thing. You're happy about being on the side of this God thing. So you have this pride. So you would be dumb to not have pride. You have only, by the time you find things out, you only have maybe what? You only have maybe 30, 40, 50 years if you're lucky. Not having pride, that would be dumb. You'd be like, okay, so I'm not gonna fight for the thing that actually works for me, my God, for my life. I'm not gonna try to evangelize and get more people on my side that I can actually enjoy more people's creations and human spirits towards, which we know creates wonderful things when humans put their minds to certain tasks, like the awareness of what you're prideful about. Maybe you can spread that world around you so you don't have to feel so alone. Right now that you're already locked away from this community that they're trying to always talk to you, that they're always trying to bash into your head, that they banned you from way back, and they can't compassionize their way back into your heart because they can't understand your experience, but vice versa, their experience hasn't very well been explained to the outside world yet. It would be dumb for pride to not be a thing. Why would you not want to see more of what you eventually made into your God around you? Why not? And what is this God? Well, this pride thing you made into your God. As in your love of self, you made into your God. As in you got yourself this far, right? As in you got yourself that food. You got yourself that sex. You got yourself that great sleep. Or you got yourself that apartment. All those great things that happened, well, you did it for yourself. Because there's nothing else, right? You said yourself, guys. You said yourself that I can't be part of this God thing anymore. So everything good that happened to me, guess what? I did that. And you know what? Everything that good happened for you, you had someone else do that for you. You weakling. You know that's the attitude. That's what it has to be like. That's what it has to look like if that's the case. If the case is that you were tossed out of this kingdom through, in your eyes at the time, through no fault of your own, then every good thing that happens has to be because of your own volition, right? It has to be because of you. So who is the God? You. You are the God. Why is this pride thing an issue? Well, because at the very least, our ability to communicate ourselves is definitely flawed. It's definitely not God. At the very least, our outward expression of ourselves is definitely not godly. At least on the outward expression, right? As in, who do you think you are? Who do we think we are? As in, our outward expressions aren't typically amazingly godly, so they doesn't quite match with this perception then that, wow, everything I do is great for me and I'm the only thing here, so I must be a god. It makes sense. It really does make sense from that standpoint. It just doesn't jive with what we're actually able to do. It makes sense for your life standpoint because, yeah, without a god, then who is doing all this stuff for you? It has to be yourself. But the thing is that you did make something your god. It might just be you, you know, something has to be the god. Something has to be the thing that you rely on to overcome the next moment, to overcome the next time where you need to overcome something and you don't feel like you don't have the power to. What are you throwing your power on? Well, maybe it is you. Maybe it is your feelings of, maybe it is your memory of the feelings that you had last time. And so you push forward. You're like, wow, I love that feeling last time. Wow, push forward. Like, wow, that was a great taste in my mouth. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. So there are ways that we're not looking at the sky god, but we're constantly making something our god, something our constant overcomer, something that we lay faith that it will help us overcome. That thing. So without this God thing, isn't it you? Isn't it your feelings? Isn't it your emotions? Isn't it those one times that you felt those emotions? Don't you make that into your God? But we all know how chasing a feeling goes, as you're always comparing it to another time of the feeling. So should we make a feeling into the God, it becomes an issue. But what else do you have to go off of? If it's just you and you alone, and you don't have a superpower yet, you're not thinking about how you can shift your awareness to place it with the body in front of the spine and its rainbow arches at all times, and how the fact that no one can take that away from you, and that is your superpower. It's just you and you alone. But say you don't remember that it's just you and you alone and you have a superpower. Say you're just thinking about how it's just you and you alone, and I told you that you can't be with this God thing, and now it's really just you and you alone. I'm referring to another episode of Pal Wan. If you want to go back in the past and check out the You Are Not, or how episode on YouTube. It's just you and you alone, and why that's a good thing. It's just you alone and why that's a good thing. But say you believe it's just you alone and that's a bad thing. Say you believe it's you alone and you don't have a superpower. I'm thinking about this second power that you can interact with. Say that's the truth. Then don't you make every time you do something good for yourself into your God. Every time you feel something good, make it your God. Now, besides the issue of the fact that it doesn't jive with the real lifeness of you not being a God, because it's true that you might have gotten all it's true that you might have gotten your needs met even without believing in this God, sky God thing, right? It's true. However, as you are looking for a God, if should you place that in yourself, you shall be sorely disappointed, considering the fact that you are not a God. Should you want something to please your moment right now, should you have been relying on yourself to attain the proper drinks or medication to make you feel good, and so yes, in your eyes, you've made yourself into God as you've overcome something, a moment that you might not have overcome. How? Well, using your own volition to grab whatever it took to get you emotionally stable in that moment. Well, what happens when those things do not exist? Unlike a God who can get it into their hands right away, you must go very far away or have it take its time, maybe 2 days, to get over here into your place. Many things that might have to occur for that thing to happen. You might have to hold a job. You might have to have a family member do it for you. You might have to have a physical working body. All things that will change throughout time. So we make ourselves into this God. We get severely disappointed every time, not to mention the fact that should you make your feelings your God or whatever it is that you've already experienced through this life, which if you're not subscribing to some kind of religion, you have to do that kind of thing, you know, or some kind of philosophy. You know, if you're not subscribing to some kind of worldview, what you're subscribing to for God is yourself, is experiences that you've already happened, experiences that have already occurred, that you can verify. Problem with that is that now your upper limit is only things that you've already experienced. You can only experience, or you can only trust things that you've already experienced, because should you believe that you are yourself God, which is what we end up doing a lot of times because we don't have faith in anything else making us feel better. Our body has to be God. So should we really place our faith in our thing, in ourselves being God? We're always measuring up to not just things that we can never attain again, as in we're always just chasing the next best thing, right? Because we can't imagine something more than what we've already been lucky enough to experience, maybe involuntarily. Maybe someone thrust a nice situation on us and we're always trying to compare it to that now. And should we be the only thing in our body so that we have to take pride in that thing because it's our life? Then we cannot ever get more than what already has been thrust upon us. A good situation, something good for us, will always be measured towards what we've already experienced. So we're always topped out by what we've already experienced. So there's whatever you've had before, that's the best it's gonna get. Because that's all you know. That's all you have. That you are your God. So the best feeling you've ever gotten for yourself is the best you'll ever get. Because if you would have gotten something more, you would have done it by now, wouldn't you? You were this God thing. Why would you not? You're this God thing in your life, right? How could you imagine something being better for yourself if you're this God thing and you're stopped from already having it? If you're this God thing for yourself in your life and you've wanted something better, and why don't you have it already if you're this God thing? So you get this cognitive dissonance, you get this confusion in your head because you're like, wait, I'm just supposed to be this God thing because I'm getting all these great things in my life. And I'm doing all these great things for myself in this life. So I'm supposed to be this God thing. So how come I don't have that great thing that I see yet? If I'm this God thing. And that spirals you because that's a conflict in your head that continuously cannot be maintained. It's just a conflict that just butts itself over and over into the head. Just, wait, you're supposed to be a God. How come this? How come that? How come this? How come they questioned you here? How come the thing didn't go your way there? How come blah, blah, blah? And why are you God though? Well, you had to be God because you were told that you're not allowed into this God thing. So now the person who's doing the best for your decisions in your life is the thing that is guiding you, is you, as in the feelings that you've had before that you're trying to chase again, that you felt before. You're like, wow, I felt good once. Well, I have to be the God for myself. So I'm going to go find out what makes me feel good again and get it. And so you are this God thing. You had to be this God thing. So you have no one else to cast your responsibilities on. You are this God thing. It's just you and you alone, and you don't have this superpower. Right? It's just you and you alone, and you don't have this superpower. So you have to be this God thing. You are the only one creating good situations for yourself, right? It's just you and you alone in your body, and that's a bad thing right now. You're thinking about how it's a bad thing right now. It's just you and you alone. Not thinking about no God thing. So what is the driving force that is helping you overcome? Well, it has to be you, right? There's nothing else in there. Knock, knock. Right? Once we tell people, or once people believe, because it doesn't even matter what you tell people, it's about what people end up believing. Once people believe that they are locked out of the concept, the graces, the good fates of this God thing, they're no longer protected by this God thing. They are no longer watched, quote unquote, by this God thing. They're no longer an agent, quote unquote, of this God thing, right? They're locked out at an early age for something that, I mean, we don't even know what we're doing when we're kids, right? We don't even know what we're thinking. We don't even know what we are. If you're locked out of this kingdom, right? You're told to not, you're not allowed into this kingdom thing. You're not one of these, you're not a godly thing. If you're told that you're no longer watched, or if you believe that you are no longer under the umbrella of this God thing. You no longer belong to this God thing. Well, then everything that has ever helped you overcome is you. The only thing that has ever helped you overcome is you for yourself, right? Because you are no longer part of this God thing. It's just you. So you are that thing. You are that God thing. Because you've always been helping yourself, and you're the one who's been giving you your ability to overcome. You've been giving yourself, blessing yourself with the ability to overcome, should you not be part of this God thing. Who endowed you with that energy, with that spirit? If it's not this God thing, well, it's just you, right? It's just you. Well, then everything you want in life, if you don't already have an easy way to access it, how you have no confidence towards going towards that thing, because it's just you, right? You're just supposed to be this God thing. So if you haven't already attained it, well, you must not be worth it enough to ever attain it. That's the message at that point. That's where pride goes. And you can't be wrong about that either. You know why? Because you're so prideful about it. You have so much pride about that too. So you can't be wrong about what you think about yourself either, right? Should you ever find yourself in a low confidence situation when you have none of this philosophy, this worldview, this God thing, but it's just you in that body, well, should you ever feel low, you're never coming out, baby, because you are in control too. So you're never wrong about that either. You're never wrong about being depressed either. So you're always just going to be depressed. As low as you go, that's how far you're just going to keep going. You just keep spiraling, because you can't be wrong about that either, can you? Should you have this pride thing? Should you think that it's always you and you alone? It's just you in that body. There's no relationship to this God thing. Whether or not you believe in this sky God thing, these human beings have a relationship to God, this concept of God, and that's real as real can be. Real as real can be. This relationship to this God thing. This idea of a God thing. Forget about the idea of an actual God, of some lightning Zeus from the skies. Forget about that. This relationship to the idea of God is realer than real can real. It's real as real as real as real as real can be. The same way that people have, men and women have relationships with their partners, even when their partners are not there, right? They think about their partners, being inspired by their partners, as real can be, even when they're not with them. In fact, oftentimes when they're yearning for that person, the creations that come out of it, the spirit that comes out of it is real as 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 real can be. So this relationship with this God thing, as real as real as real can be. So what do you make into your God? Well, it's either something else that's not you, or it all trickles down to, well, okay, if it's nothing else, then it's just you. But if it's just you, and if it's just you and you are this God thing, then everything you say is right. So if you haven't attained the thing that you already want, well, you must not be able to get it, because you're supposed to be this God thing, right? So how's that going to sit in your head? Cognitive dissonance, baby. And then also, if you start getting low self-confidence, well, you are a God, so you must be right about that too. So there goes your self-confidence, baby. Bye-bye. Down the drain. Which is funny, because it's not even based on any truth, because whether or not you believe in this sky God floating in the sky, or some Buddha, or maybe some ground God, your relationship to the idea of God is real as real as real can be, is it not? As you're always looking for something to help you overcome circumstances which otherwise, without the help of, you could not. And that is the God. That is the God. You know what I'm saying? And that relationship is real as real as real it can be, because that is what humans are looking for. That search, that eternal search for that thing is as real can be. You know what I'm saying? I want to take a small break. As we discuss about what to do now. What does that mean now that we know that without feeling access to this God thing, it's just you, and now that it's just you, well, you're right about everything. So where you are is just where you ever will be. You're always just defined by what you've done and what's been done already, so you have no potential to go further than that. And worse yet, there is no argument from that point, because you have pride in your own decisions, so that so much pride in your decision because it's just you in that body, right? According to you. So that even in your decision that you are worthless, you're going to be right about. And so, where does the hope go? You become hopeless in a literal sense. I'm hopeless. Too much pride. As in, you have no hope. Not as in you're a hopeless cause, but as in your inner spirit contains less hope. Are you taking time right now? I invite you to place your weight of the body on the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all the times. Feel in front of the shins and remember that you do not sit on your legs. Say it with me. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. Say it with me. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. Yeah. Feel the weight of the body on the front of the spine, and we'll be back in just a little bit of time. Feel the weight of the body down the front of the spine. And into the rainbow arches at all of the times. Feeling the front of the shins, and please remember that you do not sit on thy legs. I hope you had a fantastic break. Remember to allow the words in my voice, or any sound that you hear for that matter, go in one ear and out the other. This is your experience. You choose where you place your awareness. Welcome back to the best feeling network. Your only no-nonsense podcast where we achieve world peace through individual strength. Using our sense of the world to make sense of the world. I am your host, Herbie, and welcome back to Pow Go On. It is Thursday. Let me check this right quick. June 24, just to make sure, 2021. June 24, 2021. And as we were discussing, how could pride not be a thing? Why is pride a thing? How could pride not be a thing? Of course, pride is the thing. When you find something that works in your life, you would be a butthole to not tell the world about something that's really helping you overcome all things that you would not be able to overcome without. How bad of a person would you be to not tell the world about that? Pride is that. Pride is finding out what that is for you and being proud of it so that you might create more of it around you or maintain it around you. So should you not, or should you be told and then believe that you don't have access to something else that's inside of you, that you don't have this relationship with this God thing inside of you, then everything that you do that's great for yourself, that's you. And you did that, and you're this God thing to yourself, in your life, in the place that matters to you. Because you're only going to live in this body, right? This vessel. You're not going to go anywhere else. So the thing that's going to consistently bring you through hardship, If you believe it's not this relationship with a God thing, this thing that helps you overcome, then it's just you. You've done it. And all the great things, well, it's you and you were this God thing. And all the bad things that you've done, well, you can just go ahead and ignore it because that doesn't happen because you're also a God and you can just ignore those things like a God would do, right? Even when your physical body is suffering, if you're good at it, let's see how strong that can pull you through. It can pull you through some crazy things, this belief in a God thing. As in this belief of something that will help you overcome, not necessarily this sky god with a loincloth and a leaf on his dingus, but rather whatever that you subscribe to that helps you, that you have faith that will help you overcome, that will help you overcome situations that you otherwise would not. Cough, cough, the human drug. So maybe something like sex, right? Maybe something like that physical feeling, right? Maybe that's something that people subscribe to. There being their tool with which they would not be able to overcome the impossible with. But you have this feeling, right? You have this human natural drug thing, right? And you say, well, my Faja is being a real big loser, and I haven't seen him in over 20 years. How do I deal with that? Well, I have this natural human drug thing. It's going to help me get through today, the next day, maybe the next day if I can just get really good at it. Or how about my mother who's going crazy and I can't handle her? Well, maybe I can just handle her here because I do love her. And I do love my dads, or I do love my mom, so I do love them, so I don't want to hurt them either. So how am I going to handle the situation? Because I don't want to hurt them, but I also don't want to deal with the situation. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let them do their thing because I love them. I'm gonna let them keep yelling because I love them. I'm gonna keep letting them act a fool because I love them. And then when I go home, I'm going to regulate. And don't tell me that I can't do what I need to do to regulate. And that is this pride thing. Don't tell me what I can't do because I was giving it all for you. If you can have it, it's all for you. That's where this pride thing comes through. Right? We did it for you. I can't deal with this world. I can't deal with this world. The only way I can deal with this world is by having my own thing that helps me regulate. Let me be God for a second, guys. Let me be God for a second. Let me regulate so I can handle all this business out here. Because I love you guys. I don't want to tell you not to do the thing that you're doing. There's craziness that you're doing. Or I don't feel like I can. I don't feel powerful enough to. So I can handle it though. Should I have something at home that allows me to overcome? Like this person. Like this paraphernalia. Like this feeling. Like this activity. So I don't have to engage really with what you're doing over there. You know, all that nonsense. I can just go home and regulate and be my own God for a second. Overcome a scenario for a second. And indeed, if you're told that, or if you believe that you're locked out of this access to this God thing, then everything that you've done is you. And then that means that you are and have to be the most powerful. You have to be for your own sake, because there's no one else in there. So you have to be that God thing. You have to have pride in being that God thing. What kind of God would not have pride in that God thing, right? It's like saying that you don't want more of it around you. It's like saying that you don't want other people to follow you in it. It's like saying that you don't believe the thing that makes you overcome. It's like saying that you don't really truly vouch for that thing that makes you overcome. It says you don't really vouch for that side, right? If you don't have pride. So of course pride's going to be a thing. You want more of that feeling around you, especially if you've been denied it for so long. Of course, pride is a thing. It makes sense. It's the logical explanation. Should they believe that they are alone in there? Should they believe that they don't have access to this God thing? Should they believe that they do not have access to something on the inside that can actually help them overcome? Should they believe they don't have a tool within with which they can overcome all things with? And of course, pride would be a thing. Should they believe there is no inner mechanism to converse with, but it is just them alone, and they're always right, rather than a spine that sometimes might not be organized completely right, but that can be worked on with attention and awareness to the self, with curiosity and a feeling of wonder towards the self. instead of a feeling of knowing. How could we know without opening ourselves up, without gutting ourselves? How could we know about this thing? We're so lucky. We kind of already know it internally, as in we can feel these balances. Should something not corrupt it? Should something not conflict it? But as life gets older, it gets become very difficult to see. And should it be looked at with a sense of wonder and a sense of attention and awareness instead of knowing, instead of knowing and assuming that you sit on your legs? But asking ourselves, are we thinking about how we don't sit on our legs? How does that feel? Do you feel like you could overcome something that you otherwise? Do you feel that you can overcome something that you otherwise would not without feeling the front of the shins? Should you feel the front of your shins? Do you feel that you can overcome something that you otherwise could not have? As you place the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all the times, do you sort of feel that you could overcome something that you otherwise could not have without feeling your weight delivered down the front of your spine into the weight-bearing portion of the spine, which is the front, and then bowing out instead of going into your tailbone, but spreading and bowing out into the rainbow arches, which you'll see behind me, into the sit bones, into those round structures of the pelvis bone. Not to the tailbone, but splitting the weights into the rainbow arches and down into the sit bones, the two sit bones that are the bottom parts of the pelvis bone. Should we place awareness on that? Do you kind of feel that you can overcome something that you otherwise could not have, using attention to something that is within, something that is always within you, even before and after doing the horizontal tango? And remembering that you do not sit on your legs as it push you forward and give you drive in a way that maybe might help you overcome something that you otherwise could not have without the energy of. Are you feeling the front of your shins? Did you make those bones? As you're delivering weight into the front of the spine and then allowing your weight to be divided and into the rainbow arches and then making contact through means of both sit bones, both bases of the rainbow arches, delivering weight down then into the contact of whatever you're sitting on, allowing your legs to float, feeling the front of your shins. Did you make those bones? Does that make you feel like you can overcome a little bit more the next moment? Does it make you feel a little bit more solid than in a moment without? Does it make you feel a little bit stronger with than without? To overcome things that maybe you could not have without the attention to feeling the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all times? Would you have been able to make it through this video without feeling the front of your shins? Without remembering that you do not sit on your legs? Would you have been able to make it through this video? Which I do thank you so much, very much for. Do you have access to that thing? Does it make you feel a little bit different? And one more time, are you feeling the weight of the body down the front of the spine? And into the rainbow arches at all of the times? Should you have a mechanism within that is inside of you, well, did you make that? Are you appreciating the fact that you do not sit on your legs? Did you design that yourself? your ability to feel the front of your shins. Did you make that? That design that allows you to remember and feel confirmed to yourself if you're placing the weight of the body on the front of the spine and not the back portion, not the back spiny portion that houses and protects the very, very crucial, tender inner nerve endings of you. Not placing weight there that has a different job, but placing the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all of the times. And did you come up with that design? But it makes you feel fun. But did you come up with that design? So is it just you in there? Is it just you alone? Or is it just you in this relationship with this God thing? Is it just you in this relationship with this design thing? Because did you make that design? Did you do that? As you place the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all the times. Did you do that? Did you make that mechanism that is somehow allowing you to feel the front of your shins and then burping easier? And then remember that you do not sit on your legs. Did you design that yourself? It's so hot. I love it. Did you design that? But doesn't it just feel so good as you place the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into the rainbow arches at all times? Feel the front of your shins and remember that you do not sit on your legs here on Power Whether you are here now, watching, supporting here on these streams on YouTube, DLive, or Twitch, or you are there in the future where the VODs get saved onto YouTube so you can watch them, or you can watch them on Twitch, or you can watch them on DLive. We're all sorts of multi-streaming. We have these episodes being placed there afterwards, so please go and look for it there. Please smash that follow or give us a like or give us a subscribe. We'd love you for that. We would really appreciate that. Either way we're going up, we hope that you enjoy. I hope that you enjoy this no-nonsense podcast on the Best Feeling Network. I'm your host, Herbie. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Please feel the weight of the body out from the spine and into the rainbow arches at all times. This is Power Go On. Feel the front of the shins. And remember, you do not sit on your legs. Legs. You do not sit on your legs.